Hello, I'm Ted Baer, publisher of Movieguide, and I'm very honored to be able to interview a friend of mine, Andy Erish. Uh, do you pronounce it Irish or Irish?
Erish.
Irish. Uh,
Yes.
but it has nothing to do with Ireland, right?
It doesn't. My great grandfather was Hungarian, and
Wow.
the I think the guy at Ellis Island saw the Hungarian
Ah,
name and pronounced it Erish. So
so why did you
it's
decide to start tackling the 1890s and 1900s and the, era that nobody pays attention to?
that's exactly why I did decide to tackle that, because it was uncharted territory. I I'm a reader. I've read virtually everything, and I watch movies, and I've seen virtually everything. And I just had so many questions about how the movie started. And when I read the histories out there, it didn't pass my smell test, to
Yeah.
be honest. So I wrote a article that the LA Times published. And in the article, it was the first thing I ever wrote. And I got to this rather late in life. In the article, I mentioned that a particular movie was shot at the Selig Zoo. I'd never heard of the Selig Zoo. Who is this man Selig? What's this all about? And the people at the Motion Picture Academy Library, where I was doing my research, said, well, Colonel Selig left all of his papers here. He was the first filmmaker to do it, and no one's ever bothered to look at them. So I said, oh,
Amazing.
yeah.
Just amazing.
And you look at these, it was something like, I don't know, 18 linear feet of paper documents, tons of production stills, his own personal film collection of his films, and it tells a completely different story. And as I'm doing the Selig research, Vitagraph keeps showing up as the leading studio, not only in America, but in the world. And there was a slim volume on Vitagraph, and it just piqued my interest. And I thought, I need to do more research on this company, and ended up discovering all kinds of things and wrote that second book.
You just expose all of these myth conceptions that people have about Hollywood. There are a lot of creative people that were there a long, long time ago.
Yes, and those kind of unsung pioneers and heroes of cinema got the credit stolen from them.
Yeah,
Um,
by Neil
you know,
Gobler.
by Neil Gabler, among others. And and he quotes Adolf Zucker in saying very famously in a couple of different places, the guys that came before us didn't know what they were doing. They were technicians, they weren't real showmen, they didn't know how to make movies. And it took us to show the world how to make movies. It starts with us. Don't even bother paying attention to them. So everyone took him at his word.
Just for the benefit of our viewers and everybody else out there who's going to see this, I have to tell you that this is like reading a detective story. You are very humble about it, but the fact of the matter is every chapter gets you intrigued with what's happening to these people. Are they going to survive? Did they really go to South Africa? Did they
Yeah,
really go to France? What did they do? I mean, they invented things like, fantasies and, just wonderful fantasies that the Harvard professor said didn't exist before Wizard
right.
of Oz. And they're doing just incredible shots and incredible
Yeah,
filming and on location and rebuilding Napoleon's home and stuff. This is amazing.
it is. It
It's
is. Thank you.
there's nothing dull about Vitagraph, about your book about Vitagraph.
Yeah,
There's
thank
nothing
you.
dull. If you have a little bit of interest in film, you should read it because, if you learn from the past, we could go much further. And a lot of the
I
people
agree.
who take my class, they know nothing about the past of the film industry. Today, there was article in Variety about the great films of the 70s. They don't know what those films are. Variety doesn't even know about the past.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't it a shame? There's something that I think your readers might be interested in, and that is that Vitagraph, along with a couple of the other original film companies, were Christian companies.
I know.
Uh,
I was thinking about that today.
the
Yes.
two guys at the head that founded Vitagraph, um, one was a Christian, and the other guy was a self-proclaimed atheist. The tension between the two is really interesting to me because they're making a movie a day for years and years and years. And they branch out going from shorts to features. And even when they're making features, they're making more than one feature a week in addition to all those short films. They're putting out a ton of films. The Christian partner is Albert Smith, and the Christian content of those films is staggering. It's beautiful. If you're a Christian and you bemoan the lack of Christian content in popular American movies, it was there at the beginning. Um, his business partner, J. Stewart Blackton, the self-proclaimed atheist, was making films that appealed to a more secular audience. But between the two of them, they captured everybody. Everyone, well, not only in America, but literally around the world. The first movies so many people were seeing were Vitagraph movies. And they got to the point where they were making more money internationally than they were domestically. And they were the top domestic filmmaker.
Wow.
So began, and the international ticket prices, if people were paying a nickel or 10 cents for a movie here, they were paying a penny or 2 cents, 3 cents outside of the US. And these guys are netting over $1 million a year on foreign sales. It's just staggering. Uh, it's something that Hollywood forgot a long time ago. The guys that ended up taking over the industry, I think, did a reasonable job in paying lip service to Christian content occasionally in their films, but not nearly as sincerely and to the extent that the early filmmakers did. And there's no reason. It's a good business model. If nothing else, if you're just looking at motion pictures purely as a business, why not reach everybody? This is a Christian country. Why do you exclude us from the movies that you're making nowadays? It's a bad business model.
But I love what you
Okay,
do. I admire you tremendously.
thank you.
I urge everybody who's watching to buy a copy of your Vitagraph book and then buy your other book about Selig. So that's so great. And to watch these films and to change the whole history that we think in our mind that this was some, leftist attack on America. It wasn't. And you got to learn from the past to make better movies in the future. We have to.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
If you enjoy videos that follow your values like ours and you want to help us continue, go to movieguide.org/donate because we're actually a nonprofit. You may not know that, but we're working in Hollywood every day to help families have more choices that follows their values. And also subscribe right now.